Hi viewers, my name's Kara. I'm your host for Tuesdays on the Pagan Perspective, and this week we're talking about spirituality and religion, and this video is going to be long as usual, but I hope that sitting down here in the cold downstairs will make me go through it quicker. The topic this week comes from MrAbhainn, which I always say his name wrong even though he's told us before, so I'm gonna not say it again. As usual, the topic and the links will be in the description, but I do want to read the question out this time because it'll help as I go through. I am curious what the hosts think about spirituality subverting or overtaking religion/tradition. By tradition, I mean formalized systems such as Initiatory Wicca in the modern pagan movement. With spirituality, people have great personal freedoms and can take from a plethora of sources the techniques that suit themselves, but they also change the formulae that tradition/system has developed. They also open themselves to what I see as an endless spiral of consumerism from the more New-Agey side of paganism. Thoughts, ideas, smiley face. I think this is about eclecticism and traditionalism, not spirituality and religion, at least as far as what those words mean to me. You guys know I love words, so here we go with my usual shtick, a bunch of definitions and articles. You can always count on me for that, whether you like it or not. So these are Merriam-Webster online definitions. Spirituality. Noun. 1. Something that in ecclesiastical law belongs to the church or to a cleric as such. 2. Clergy. 3. Sensitivity or attachment to religious values. 4. The quality or state of being spiritual. Spiritual is an adjective. 1. Of, relating to, consisting of, or affecting the spirit, incorporeal. 2. A. Of or relating to sacred matters. B. Ecclesiastical rather than lay or temporal. Oh, the cat is on my lap now. That's strange. Hello, I'm doing a video. Could you? Okay. 3. Concerned with religious values. 4. Related or joined in spirit. 5a. Of or relating to spiritual beings or phenomena. B. Of relating to or involving spiritualism. Spiritualistic. Religion is a noun. 1a. The state of a religious, such as a nun in her 20th year of religion. B. 1. The service and worship of God or the supernatural. B. 2. Commitment or devotion to religious faith or observance. 2. A personal set or institutionalized system of religious attitudes, beliefs, and practices. 3. Archaic, scrupulous conformity or conscientiousness. 4. A cause, principle, or system of beliefs held to with ardor and faith. Religious is an adjective. 1. Relating to or manifesting faithful devotion to an acknowledged ultimate reality or deity. 2. Of relating to or devoted to religious beliefs or observances. 3a. Scrupulously and conscientiously faithful. 3b. Fervent or zealous. The cat is getting into things. I'm really sorry about that. She never does this, but I'm downstairs. Okay, so now that we have the definitions, when I was talking to my friend/old roommate about the difference between spirituality and religion, we were trying to delineate whether she is currently spiritual or religious or not at all. We decided that she is spiritual because she believes there is something out there to believe in, but she is not yet religious because she doesn't have currently a specific practice. So that's the way we decided that it made sense for us to see it. So this is why I don't think we're talking about spirituality and religion so much as we are talking about eclecticism and tradition. There are people out there who say, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, and those people may in fact have a personal set of attitudes, beliefs, and practices, which I would define as a religion. If they choose not to use the term, that's one thing, but in my view, spirituality is part of religion, and it's about how you see the world and whether there is something spiritual out there. Whereas religion is just having a specific way of believing in or working with that thing. But when we talk about eclecticism and traditionalism, or tradition, that's where we get into the people who either follow a formal structure or take from various sources what suits them. I am an eclectic practitioner. I take from different areas and I put that into my own personal view of the world. I am spiritual, but I am also religious because the things I do have a certain structure within my own view. Eclectics do not necessarily lack structure. Eclecticism is spirituality focused on the individual's views, while religion is usually used to describe a formal set tradition, so all of these words go together. Religion has a certain connotation to it these days, which I understand is why a lot of people have trouble with the word. Even I get offended when people talk about religious people cause all the world's problems, or religious people are like this, because I do consider myself religious based on the definition. It's just not what most people associate with the word religion. But I have a personal set of beliefs and practices. I do not follow an institutionalized system, but personal sets are part of the definition. As many people use the terms today, yes, even I would like to disassociate with the term religious and say that I am merely spiritual. But I like to think in terms of original meaning and definitions, not just what popular definitions people have created in recent history. After all, if we disassociate completely from the term religion, I can just imagine some smart aleck being like, it's called freedom of religion, not freedom of spirituality. People already give us hell because they don't believe that we're a real religion, so just imagine if we stopped using the word religion. People think we're not a religion, but we are. Eclectic religion or traditional religion, but religion nonetheless. Here's where we get to the links. The Huffington Post article that you will find below talks about the negative view that people have of religion and what kinds of ways people have taken religion into aspects and areas of life that are not religious, which is part of why people seek a personal spiritual path instead. The definitions of spiritual and religious in this article are very black and white, and I certainly like the notion that they describe as spiritual, and I think you'll agree. So using their notions of the terms, even I would say, oh, I am not religious, I am spiritual. But again, I think these are just the popular connotations of the words and not the actual definitions, or the original definitions, because now they are defined differently. The next article from Biography Online talks about the difference between religion and spirituality as people commonly talk about them. They make some really good distinctions here, but again, I remind you that there are religions, that is, communities of belief and or non-belief, that are recognized as religions, which are really spiritual in nature if you use this definition of spiritual. Again, with what this article says, even I'm like, ew, no, I don't want to be thought of as religious if that's what religion means. But in my mind, that's not actually what it means, so I sound like a broken record, so I'll move on. The next article that I found is from About.com's Agnosticism and Atheism section, which doesn't it just figure that I should find an article which more accurately describes the way I think about this topic in the agnostic/atheist section. This article gets at different definitions for the difference between religion and spirituality and how not only are they different definitions, but they're not consistent with each other. It talks about valid and invalid distinctions between the two, and it closes by saying that the difference is really only human-made. There is no actual difference, but the way people have come to think of it, it seems like there is a difference. The next article I looked at was Wikipedia, of course. The wiki page on spirituality talks about spirituality defined as a search for the sacred, in which case religion is a form of spirituality, though there are other ways to search for the sacred besides religion. It could also be through different movements like feminism or environmentalism. And this also makes me want to note that while religion is usually thought of as involving a belief in deity, even non-theists can be spiritual, having beliefs and practices of a non-religious nature. So here, spirituality is a larger group with religion inside it. Spirituality is more than religion, but they're not mutually exclusive. The next article from beliefnet.com takes a look at what that popular phrase, spiritual but not religious, really means when Americans say it. A couple of the articles mention that this phenomena of being a divide between spirituality and religion is mostly an American thing. And the wiki mentions that the meanings mostly changed in America after World War II. The BeliefNet article also talks more about public versus private, which one of the previous articles touched on. What I do at home, here, for my personal growth, that would be considered spiritual, whereas when I go to church or to circle and I do the same types of things, but in a community and we all agree on a ritual that we're going to do together for our group growth, that would be called religious. Spiritualityversusreligion.org says that in America, religion means mainstream Christian faith, and spirituality defines Eastern or New Age practices. So that's a really set divide there. And their site talks more about the fear-based versus love-based distinction that the Biography Online article discusses. Bibliotechapleiades.net talks about how the two terms, spirituality, it's getting hard to say, and religion are the same, but people ascribe black and white roles to them unnecessarily. But then this article only describes a lot of the good versus bad, and like they give you a list of good versus bad, and they don't go on to explain how the two come back together, which I think is silly. But this list is still a really good example of how people commonly think of the two today. Everything bad is religious, everything good is spiritual. Once more, for good measure, let me remind you that there are specific spiritual paths out there that in their given form are considered religions. Not every religion fits these negative stereotypes. It seems like these negative things describe people's bad experiences and views about certain religious paths, and then people start talking about, well, all religion is like this, when it's not. This is not representative of all religions, but this is what people have come to talk about. So I know that that was a long way of going around this, but this gets back to my main point. Spirituality is not subverting religion, in my opinion, because they work together. They're the same thing. People just like to disassociate from a term that they feel has a negative connotation. But we've taken back negative words like pagan, heathen, witch, and so on. So if you don't like the terms, that's fine. Part of my belief is that you can use whatever terms you feel fit you personally. I am sticking with this for myself. I am spiritual, and I am also religious. I feel that people just put too many different things in boxes. No boxes, no colors, enough. All of this is why I think this topic/question is really about eclecticism and tradition. That much is true. Eclecticism is becoming more prevalent. People like looking for their own way about it and using whatever works for them, because a lot of us were raised with this, you must believe this and only this and everything else is bad, and we don't like that because we see good in different areas and we want to embrace that good. So people associate the word religion with this thing that they didn't like, and they associate the word spirituality with this freedom where you can do what works for you. So I absolutely understand where it's coming from, and I agree on that point. Still, I posit, eclectics can have religion. Eclectics have religion, I guess, depending on what kind of eclectic you are. It's just our own personal one. And I personally include Wicca in my label, because I feel that all of my eclectic stuff put together, when you see like my personal format, it still mostly looks like Wicca, just with other things involved. And for my mother, when you put together all her eclectic stuff, it still mostly looks like Christianity with additions. Someone else might identify as a Buddhist with more eclectic things because most of their stuff kind of fits Buddhism. We don't just stick to that one main branch alone, but it doesn't mean that we have no structure at all. So some eclectics, at least, I won't speak for all of you because I don't know. Some people I know don't choose a label at all because they do feel that it's really varied. But it is possible for an eclectic person to have a structure, even if it's their own structure. It doesn't have to have a label, anything like that. I just feel that when people talk about, oh, religion has this structure and spirituality doesn't, or tradition is formal and structured and eclecticism isn't, eclectics can still come up with their own tradition. It's a personal thing. We find things that we like and we do them over and over. So I just don't see them as being really different. Being eclectic doesn't mean that you have to use a little of every single thing and cling to all of these things that all of the other paths do. Which brings me into the consumerism part. I was talking to Rich about this yesterday. I haven't watched his video yet, but when I was talking to him, he said that he did feel that pull into consumerism. Whereas I never felt that, even though I've always been eclectic, because my sources urged me not to buy, not to be consumerish, but to focus on what's inside you and what you can find and what you can personally make use of. So to me, that sounds more spiritual if we use these modern definitions, to really just use what's inside you and not be a consumer. And it seems more religious to want the specific things and the specific tools, since religion is associated with tradition and formality and ritual and stuff. Literally and stuff. So I don't personally feel that as eclectics we would be any more tempted to buy items from all religions and more and more and more than people of specific religions are tempted to buy everything that they see about that one religion. In my personal experience, it's the people who have the one specific tradition that want everything about it, whereas the eclectics kind of do whatever. And like, yeah, I mean, we have stuff. I've got a ton of stuff. Have you looked around like this room and seen? No, I haven't given you guys a tour yet. But I mean, I have stuff. I'm not saying we don't have stuff. That would be foolish of me. I just mean, consumer-wise, my experience has always seemed like it's not the eclectics or the spiritualists that do that, it's the religion or the tradition. But I'm thinking of religion as mainstream religion in America, not like pagan tradition. But suffice it to say that I see this kind of the complete opposite way that the questioner did. So what do you all think? This is just my personal opinion. What do you think it's all about? Maybe I should also say that, to me, New Age refers just to the coming of the new astrological age, the new way of thinking and the way that we're all kind of moving into seeing the world. So to me, New Age thinking doesn't automatically mean consumerism, even though, yes, there are a lot more practices that we draw into and those things have things attached to them, but there's also a lot of meditation, visualization, energy stuff, things that you don't need objects for. It's all about you. So to me, actually, New Age seemed more like moving away from consumerism. So I'm just seeing all of this very opposite and a very different way. Anyway, those are my personal thoughts on the subject. I told you it was going to be long. I'm really sorry. I don't expect that everyone will agree with my views here, but I also don't expect that everyone will disagree. This is a great topic. Thank you so much. So I hope that you all enjoy my perspective and the perspectives of everyone else this week. I will see you next month, since the subs are next, and until then, don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye. I may also do a brief video about this on my personal channel, just because I haven't posted anything there in a while, and this is a really important topic, so I kind of want to bring it in there as well. I don't have time to post it today before this video, but I think I might say a little more about it. Okay, bye.